What's going on, kids? Pastor Jacob here, coming at you with another video. I hope you all are having a great week. Before we get started with our lesson today, I have a game I want you and those who are with you to play. It's called When You Were Young. It's kind of like charades. Players are going to take turns and act out something they used to do when they were a baby. Try to be the first person to guess and make sure everyone who wants to take a turn gets one. Okay, pause the video and try to get into the game. You're only going to have as much fun as you're willing to put into it. I hope you all had fun. Today, we're learning about a fella named Jeremiah and how Jeremiah, at a young age, was called by God to give an important message. Let's find the book of Jeremiah in our Bibles. We were in Jeremiah not too long ago, so hopefully y'all remember where it is. Just in case though, Jeremiah is in the Old Testament. It comes right after the book of Isaiah and right before the book of Lamentations, so books that hopefully you're familiar with. Take a minute, find the book of Jeremiah, let's watch our video and see what Jeremiah had to say.
Hello friends, it's me, Megan, and I'm Jessie. Megan, notice anything different? Nope. Look again. No, I'm still not noticing anything different. Megan, I got new shoes. Can't you tell? Oh, really? They look exactly like your old shoes. Well, they are the same kind of shoes, but they're new. Oh, very cool. In today's Bible story, God promised to give his people a new covenant. What's a covenant? A covenant is, it's a promise or agreement. The new covenant God was going to give his people was not like the old covenant. This one would be new and better. Listen to this story.
Jeremiah was a priest. One day, God told Jeremiah, "I knew you before I made you. Before you were born, I picked you to do very special things." God wanted Jeremiah to be a prophet. Being a prophet was a big job. Jeremiah would have to listen to God and tell people what God said. Jeremiah said, "Oh no, God, I am too young for this job. I am just a boy." "Do not be afraid," said God. "I will be with you and I will take care of you."
God's message for the people of Judah had bad news. I will punish the people because they have disobeyed me. But God's message had good news too. After the people are punished, I will help them. I will make them strong again.
God's people in Judah kept breaking his laws. This was bad news because God had made a covenant or agreement with his people. The agreement said that if God's people obeyed him, God would bless them. But the people did not obey, so God would punish them for their sin. The people would lose everything they had. They would even become servants of their enemies.
Jeremiah said that because of sin, people's hearts are tricky. People's hearts fool them into thinking they are very good when they are not. They trick people into wanting things or doing things that God does not want for them. But God had a plan to change people's hearts. God promised to make a new covenant, an even better agreement. In the new covenant, God was going to put his law in their hearts.
He would give the people power to obey him. God said, "I will forgive their wrongdoing and never again remember their sin." Jeremiah spoke God's message, and his friend Baruch wrote it on a scroll. When the king of Judah heard the message, he tore the scroll into pieces and burned them up in a fire. God told Jeremiah to make another scroll, just like the first. Jeremiah told the king, God is going to punish you, your family, and your leaders for doing wrong things. God warned you, but you did not listen.
Jeremiah said that God was going to forgive sin and change people's hearts. Jesus made these words come true. God forgives our sin when we trust in his Son, Jesus. Jesus died on the cross to take away our sin. He changes us and gives us power through his Spirit to obey him.
Whoa! Did he say that God knew Jeremiah before he was even born? That's crazy cool to think that God knows each and every one of us before we were born too. Not only does God know us, but God has a plan for all of us. God told Jeremiah that he had chosen Jeremiah to do special things before he was even born. Do you remember what God had for Jeremiah to do? That's right. God had a message for Jeremiah to share. Jeremiah told the people of Judah that there was a new covenant for them with God. That is so exciting. But you may be asking, Brother Jacob, what is a covenant? A covenant is an agreement or promise between two or more people. So, kind of like when you make a pinky promise with one of your friends. The only difference is that there's no way God could ever break his promise. God has made a covenant with his people, but the time was coming for a new and better covenant. It's kind of like an upgrade. See here, I have an old Game Boy Color. This is what I used to play games on when I was really young, a lot of your ages. But like all tech, it gets dated. And now with things like the new Switch and all that cool stuff, this is just so much bigger and brighter and has more games on it. There's just no need for the old Game Boy. You guys have maybe some old tech laying around your house that's been upgraded, like God upgraded the covenant. Can you guess what the new and better covenant is, though? It was Jesus. Jesus dying for our sins. It was through Jesus that God forgives us of our sins. It is so cool how God used Jeremiah to tell about Jesus so long before Jesus was even born. Jeremiah wasn't too sure about God using him, though. He thought he was a little too young for God to ever use him. But we learned last week about how God used another young boy to lead the people back to him. Now, we're seeing God want to use another young person. I think what we're learning here, kids, is that God doesn't care how old or how young you are. He just wants people to say, "Here I am, send me." So what do you think? Is your attitude, "Oh no, God, not me. I'm too young. I'm too busy. Try again tomorrow. Try again when I'm older, when I'm in the next grade"? Or is your attitude, "God, I know that you can use me to do awesome things right now, and I'm ready for whatever you need"? I know you are all still young, but I also know that our God is great. And because our God is great, there's nothing he can't do. Today's craft is super easy, but I think you're all going to have a lot of fun with it. Today, I want you all to draw a picture of what you learned from today's lesson. I have my picture right here. I drew me around my house and around my neighborhood, sharing with my neighbors about Jesus. You see, I actually get really scared talking to people. It terrifies me to speak in front of a large group of people, and I get nervous talking to strangers. But I know from our lesson today that even though I may be scared, God can still use me to share Jesus with those around me. I hope you all have a fun time drawing whatever it is that God taught you today. Bye.